Welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. Today, FBI Director Chris Wray testified before the House Judiciary Committee. The disease began before him, but Wray has presided over the FBI as it's become more and more political and weaponized. If you have been paying attention to the gritty details in recent years, this hearing and the fury that you saw from House Republicans probably didn't make too much sense. Chris Wray is a Republican himself. He was nominated by Donald Trump. Those are both true. But also true, Chris Wray is really the perfect example of the American political shift. The dichotomy is no longer Republican versus Democrat. It's control versus freedom. It's establishment versus populism. A politicized and weaponized DOJ protects the Washington Uniparty from populists attempting to stunt Washington's disturbing growth and overextended reach. The MAGA Republicans, as they say, are a danger to democracy because in Washington, democracy means government control. All of those catchphrases are self-serving to the politicians that say them. The mindless drones simply just listen and repeat. They count on that. All of that is why today we watched as House Democrats sucked up as hard as they could to the Republican who's running the FBI.
I think it's actually sad that the majority is engaging in conspiracy theories and efforts to try and discredit one of the premier law enforcement agencies.
Director Wray, I thank you for continuing to serve with all of these attempts to sully your name.
I'm glad that we have an opportunity for one Democrat, one Republican in close succession to thank you for your service to the country.
Pretty obvious, isn't it? You see how it works. There was plenty to criticize today from Republicans. Much of the concerns are around FISA abuses. FISA stands for Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, but it's being rapidly abused by our out-of-control intelligence community. A recent New York Post op-ed alleges for each American the FISA court permitted the FBI to target and spy on, the Bureau illicitly surveilled almost 1,000 additional Americans. Think of that. The cancer of government, all it wants is more control, more surveillance, more power. Whether it's this government or one 1,000 miles or 10,000 miles away, that is never going to change. And with populists taking over the Republican Party, there's now only one party in Washington that's rooting for more control, more government, more power. Just one. Which certainly explains the behavior we've seen from the DOJ since Donald Trump arrived on the scene. Congressman Matt Gaetz began his ruthless questioning of Chris Wray by reading a text message that the FBI has known about for 4 years. The message to Zhao, the infamous text to the Chinese Communist Party official by Hunter Biden as he sat with his father.
I'm sitting here with my father. I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI does not and has no interest in
you won't answer the question about whether or not that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it. Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing about you.
Deeply revealing. Like how the FBI has known the Biden family is corrupt, that the president's corrupt for 4 years. Didn't do anything about it. It's very revealing. It shows that Chris Wray's FBI has a massive problem that he either doesn't want to fix, or perhaps, if you're being gracious, he can't fix because of the perceived damage to the institution caused by him actually having to admit that this problem exists. Meanwhile, the rot that has become of our DOJ allows Democrats to make outrageously ridiculous claims. As Americans watch the U.S. government try to imprison a former president for taking classified documents while ignoring far worse, salacious allegations of corruption from our adversaries, from our current president.
Republicans today will also attack President Biden, starting with the IRS investigation into Hunter Biden. They will ignore the fact that U.S. Attorney David Weiss had the authority to bring charges in any district he saw fit and was able to operate fully free of interference. They do not want to acknowledge that despite years of investigations, President Biden has not been found to have engaged in any wrongdoing.
My Republican colleagues seem to believe that a former president similarly cannot be indicted. That would effectively make a president above the law, beyond the reach of the law. And in my view, there would probably only one thing the founders would find more politically precarious and dangerous to our Constitution than the indictment of a president or former president, and that is the failure to indict a president or former president when they have engaged in criminal conduct.
Actually impressive Nadler and Schiff could even finish those sentences without breaking face. The irony in each of those statements was so heavy, I'm shocked that the floor didn't collapse. Two of the biggest frauds in Washington, and they know it. Another egregious example of what's happened to this country's justice system was the FBI's overly aggressive moves against parents who've become rightfully angry over the chaotic changes happening inside our country's education system, which is unrecognizable from just 10 years ago. COVID lunacy, radical left-wing indoctrination, transgender bathrooms. When parents stood up to this radicalization at the schools that their taxes pay for, the FBI sided with school boards and sided with the White House and attacked them. One FBI whistleblower, Steve Friend, testified at one point he was in the parking lot of a high school taking down the license plate numbers of parents. He said he knew something was wrong in that moment. That's your FBI at work.